Call the meeting to order. We'll begin with the roll call.
Jeff West?
Yes.
Ray Karen?
Here.
Ken Fletcher?
Here.
Jerry Quirian?
Yes.
Patricia West?
Yes.
Ben Twitchell?
Here.
Steve
Yes.
Russell?
Do the
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And I'll entertain a motion for
Second.
for minutes from last meeting. All in favor, if there's no questions? Do the same sign. Okay. We'll move on to resolution number 45. If someone would please bring that to the table.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Resolution number 45, 2019. Resolution providing for retiring the late Winslow Fire Captain Scott Higgins call number 702. Be it resolved by Town Council of the Town of Winslow as follows. Whereas prior to his death, the late Winslow Fire Captain Scott Higgins made tremendous contributions and sacrifices to the Winslow Fire Department and community. And whereas the Winslow Town Council wishes to honor his memory by retiring his call number 702, now therefore be resolved by Town Council, Town of Winslow, that Fire Chief is hereby directed to retire Fire Captain Scott Higgins call number 702. You want to pass it first, or go ahead and go with the...
Comments first.
No, okay.
Speaking on behalf of the family and the fire department members, we greatly appreciate you taking the opportunity to present this resolution. Councilman West, appreciate your efforts behind doing this. This has been, without question, one of the hardest things that anybody has ever gone through. And I know that Dawn greatly appreciates the recognition and the effort to honor Scott's memory. Scott was, without question, one of the stalwarts of the department, and even now, as we're approaching certain times of year, his presence is greatly missed. So I think it's safe to say, on behalf of Dawn and the family, thank you very much.
Anybody else like to make a comment? Randy, go ahead.
Just as, you know, we cannot express our sympathies enough in the commitment that Scott made to the fire department, the difference that he made, and from the whole Winslow community and the Winslow Town Council. We just, sometimes words can't express those things, and we all feel for you very much.
Anybody else want to say anything? No? We're all set with that, go.
I didn't know if you were going to vote on the
We're
resolution.
going to vote, yeah. I think that's, if there's no more comments, I think we'll have our vote. Is that going to be a
Not.
roll call?
No.
Okay, we're all set. All in favor, please raise your right hand. Opposed, same sign. Passes unanimously.
If I may, Mr. Chairman. Dawn, on behalf of the town of Winslow and the Winslow Fire Department, please accept Scott's helmet as a token of our appreciation for his honorable and faithful service.
All set. If we are, we'll begin with the town manager's report.
So the first thing I'll go over, two things I want to talk about in my report. One of them is the fire department renovations, and the other one is budget workshops, scheduling those. So first thing I want to do is correct something I'd indicated in my report. I'd estimate or indicated that the estimated numbers, the high and the low, included $80,000 for a generator. when in fact it does not. So if you add the 80,000 to the low number, and that's 78, it comes out to 1,058,328. And if you add the 80,000 to the 1.2 million, it comes out to 1.3 million. So those are the high and the low estimates. New construction, I did get those numbers after the packet went out. New construction, same square footage that we have now, would be 2.9 million. So that comes out at a difference of roughly 1.6 million.
Mr. Chairman, is the assumption that this will be fully considered as part of the budget process, or is it going to be outside of that?
So my thought is that as we, probably before we get into the budget,
Okay.
we'll do a workshop or two on the proposed plan. There may be some changes. Then, let's assume there's changes. Then when we got into the budget cycle, we would begin the process of including that amongst all the other things in the capital that we need to consider. And then looking ahead at when bonds are retired, for example, looking ahead, we can start thinking about when would we want to do a project. That was my
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
when would we look at a date for a workshop? It has to be in January, at the latest.
So in the back of my report, there are two calendars, one February, I won't have January's. Disregard. We're gonna plan it in January. What I could do is email out a couple of dates to everyone.
7th, 8th, 9th, fine with me.
If it works with Jerry, it works with all of us.
So are there any questions about the,
I think it's just important to look at the plans, have Peachy here. I think they're the ones who made these plans, right?
no,
Who was it?
Yes,
Ben Murray?
Ben Mur, okay. And to see the reasoning behind everything and and what we, we have a little breakdown of the cost and have it in the public so that, you know what I mean, we can see what we're looking at, just like any process that we do.
Oh, I agree.
To understand where every portion is and the need for every portion. And so, as we go into the budget-making process, whether in determining, what we do this year and next year and on all that, what the priorities are, how, you know what I mean?
Oh, I do
and
understand.
where everything is, and maybe we can put some capital away and then ease up on the burden and look at the debt schedule also and everything else that we've added on to that schedule. So if we start that in January, at least in the budget process, could put some money aside, or we could at least have a plan going forward on, a much needed, I might add, renovation of the fire department, and long overdue
Thank you.
renovation of the fire department.
Thank you.
I have a question.
Yes, go ahead.
I've been on this committee back and forth a little bit. A majority of the renovations we talked about adding female staff areas, bathrooms, stuff like that.
Yes.
If we were to hire a female firefighter full-time, do you have adequate area space for her right now? Or would that be something we need to discuss in the budget this coming year to make available?
We would have to, we'd have to discuss this
Okay,
through the budget process right now.
okay. I just would hate for that to hinder hiring a full-time female firefighter, so.
Thank you.
Good, Mr. Chairman, I think my suggestion is, I think that we will need some in-depth workshops on this. Also, take the learning from what we did when we renovated the renovated the police department. And I think we had some good learning coming out of that, like one of the questions I've thought of. I can remember that when we did the police department renovation, we pretty near triggered some additional stuff, elevator and so forth, so on. So like one of the questions I would ask is how are we going to get a full scope? Because I hope we don't repeat what we
Well,
did there.
if I may, Ken, on that kind of hindered a lot of what was going on here too. Because there was talk of possibly using the council chambers as a training space.
Yeah.
But if you breach this wall, then you have to put in an elevator.
Right, right. And so one of the things we've learned coming out of that school, not school, I keep saying school, police department renovation, was we didn't have a full understanding up front as to life safety code, ADA, what are all the regs. So I would say that's one of the things we really got to understand, because we could innocently get ourselves into a big issue.
Yeah, so for us, the reason the elevator is because we have stairs going downstairs. Fortunately, the fire department doesn't have any stairs
Right.
going into the basement. And the plan you've got shows a door here, but that, we're not gonna do that, because as soon as we breach that wall,
Yep,
it's gonna trigger the elevator to nowhere, basically.
yep, right.
I would also like to say that Ben's done a great job talking to us about all the codes, and he's been doing a lot of research when we make little changes like that, because we did want an extra door for airflow and an extra exit in case we needed it, so,
Let's be honest, we wanted Tricia's door.
yeah. I just wanted to see a door on the wall.
That the other comment I would make, I would hope that we could publicize these workshops, because people need to understand the justification, because there's a lot that we have spent and are gonna need to spend, and unfortunately, it's all coming at the same time. So,
As a fire trucks.
fire trucks, there was even the talk of the parking lot work, if that ever gets done, and so forth. So I just think it would be really helpful to get it all spelled out for people. That's my suggestion.
Raymond?
Now, thinking back even 10 years ago at this point in time, I know there was a lot of roof issues at the time with loading and you know, I'm sure that was that's not even in consideration here, right? Or,
No,
no, so, you know what I mean? That's another thing added, that if we do change that, is there anything long-term we have to do for structurally up there that?
I think as long as we're not looking to put any rooftop units, we're
Yeah,
all set.
okay.
Because we did do the engineering on that.
Okay, okay.
If we were going, primarily, initially, the thought was we could insulate. And we discovered that, no, we can't insulate, because if we did, then we would have to reinforce.
Yeah, yes, I remember something. Well, we're not gonna solve it here tonight, that's for sure, but that's why workshops are so critical, because,
So do you want to go ahead and schedule a workshop for January, or do we want to discuss the date tonight? Do
Either,
you want to try to email out to us and we'll try to come up with one?
yes, I could send out a few dates.
Does that work for everybody?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
And any other questions? So, on the two calendars you've got, I'd like to come up with 8 workshop meetings.
8?
8,
For the budget.
yeah, for the budget workshop.
Okay.
We're talking about February and March.
Yes, so I'm planning to get the budget to you by the 31st of January. I would assume it would be helpful for you to have the budget at least for a week. So if we wouldn't plan anything, for example, for the week of the 3rd of February, so we could start the week of the 10th. Of course, the 10th we have a council meeting. We could do the 11th and 13th if that works for folks.
I'm gone. that
You're
week.
gone? Okay. We could, if you look at the following week, the 17th is a holiday, we could do the 18th, 19th, and 20th. That work for folks?
yep.
February 18, 19, and 20.
Yep.
About the 11th?
We're not having it that week.
So then if we go down the following week and look at the 25th, 26th, and 27th, does that work for folks?
Works for me.
So now we only have to pick 2 in March. And I had proposed the end of March 30th for the school budget.
How come we're taking them so late?
Well, that's the 95 days, I think.
Yeah, I think it's 95 days, it's something like March 27th.
Yeah.
That's the date.
But we're gonna get it then, and we don't have any time to discuss, work on it, nothing, all right? If you wait till that day.
But by charter, that's the date that they're supposed to have it in by. I mean,
Peter,
95 days from the beginning of the
Yeah.
end of the.
And Peter talked to us a lot about getting it earlier to us and trying to
Do you want
make
to talk
it.
to them about that, about setting
better.
up one in March for the school board? Would you want to ask them? Or is this
Yes.
going to be ours anyway?
Well, this will be, yes, so the school board would need to be here,
Yeah,
and the superintendent,
yes.
if we were to schedule it for the 30th.
But if there's any difficulties, we won't have time to work on it.
The 30th, we'll have at least a week before the council packet needs to go out.
That's why I've always screamed to have that school right up front, and then that gives them time, gives us time, gives them time to work on it, so we're not surprised at the very end. That makes it tough.
We're always surprised.
Well,
We're always
no, but
surprised.
good, Mr. Chairman, I think I understand what Council Twitch was talking about. In the past, we've had discussions early before they've even got the budget.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's kind of like, okay, here's what we see
More of an
coming.
informal.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if this year they're negotiating contracts, and anything that they're aware of, that would be an opportunity to get the council thinking about it. Because like Council Twitchett says, if it's a surprise,
Maybe what we do as a compromise is schedule a meeting for the 30th, but talk to the superintendent and see if he wants to come in 3 weeks before that, 2 weeks before that, and just have a conversation.
right,
Yep,
And see what works for them.
yep.
And we've had that first year I was here. We had a meeting, bang, at the very end of it. We had no chance to even look at it, talk about it, or anything. And it was tough.
Yeah. No, I agree, we should have one preliminary meeting before that. Go ahead.
Here's my thought on it. Here in February, the last 2 weeks of February, we're gonna have pretty much everything on the municipal side done for the 1st of March. It's my feeling that we'll have a pretty good, we could go over the municipal budget with the school board to say, here's what our potential mill rate thing will be. And then at least they would know the pressure on the municipal side of things, what we've done, and some type of expectations on, we're gonna have, this is what we're gonna have to stay within a range, at least a projected range of what the school budget is going to be in the result of that school budget on the mill rate. So at least they can go back and say, here's some of the expectations, but if we wait till we do that at the beginning of March, say the second week of March, at least they have something.
They have that time to
They have
work
that
on it.
time frame to at least look at our expectations and look at the pressures that the town is gonna be under. So I would say the week of March 10th.
So if we we still have 2 more workshops to schedule, so if I say the 7th workshop will be on March 4th and the 8th will be March 5th.
Not here on the 4th, I'm sorry.
March 4th and 8th, that's a Sunday.
No, March 4th is a Wednesday.
Would be the 8th meeting.
I'm not there, I'm not here that week.
Okay, so we could drop it down to the second week. So the 10th and 12th? March 10th and 12th?
Okay.
That's a municipal budget
That's the
still?
final 2 workshops, yes.
And then school on the 30th.
Well, we could, we may want to take some time to meet the following week
Yeah.
to finalize things on the
Like the
municipal budget.
16th.
Yeah.
And then maybe shoot for the week of the 23rd to meet with the school committee.
Yes, that gives us another
The school
week for the
committee,
30th figure.
just meets on.
I think we should meet before the school committee meeting. Because if we put some parameters of what we're looking at, then they have time to change the budget on the 23rd, and then we can review it on the 30th.
So you want to try the 18th?
You don't wanna-
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, that
And
sounds
that's
good.
more of an informal meeting, right?
Yeah.
I think that splits it.
But it's still a budget meeting. We'll do an
Yeah.
initial school budget meeting on the 18th.
And what time is all
Well-
these meetings gonna be?
That's gonna be, Ben, in my opinion, that's gonna be, we're gonna know the municipal side of issues.
yeah.
We're gonna communicate the municipal side of issues.
What-
They're going to even have maybe a preliminary budget that they maybe have some figures. What are the pressures that they're gonna be under, whether they're with salaries, or what is the, what, at least somewhat of a projection.
Yeah,
But we need to have we need to give them some expectations
Yeah.
at that time as to, what are we looking at here? Because, if you add on the fire trucks that were just put in.
Yes.
You add on some other things, you know what I mean? We need to know municipally what that side is, and then say what our expectations are going to be for an increase in the school budget at that time.
So what are the dates, what are the times on these budget meetings?
6 PM work for everyone?
6?
6 PM?
No, it might be on by 11.
I know.
I'm gonna bring food. I didn't bring any food last time.
So on the
We're all
18th, you're
grumpy.
gonna notify Peter?
I'll see if-
And then see if that's a doable situation.
Yep, that'll give us a couple days to finalize the town budget.
And when you give us the book, is all of these all these dates are gonna be in there.
Yep,
And can you email us with reminders? Thanks.
The school 1, 2 at 6.
yes.
Everything will be at 6,
Yeah.
right?
Okay. Awesome.
And that's all I have, Mr. Chairman. for my report.
Okay, is there any questions for the town manager's report? And any of the other department reports, the finance committee reports, I'll entertain a motion to.
So moved.
accept all of them.
Second.
Moved and seconded, any discussion, all in favor, please raise your right hand. Okay, we move on to new business. We begin with order number 21, 2019, an order providing for authorization for the town manager to purchase a new fire truck, a Quint, at a total cost not to exceed $1.128 million. Be it ordered by the Town Council of Town of Winslow as follows, whereas the fire department's existing Quint needs to be replaced due to excessive rust, and whereas the fire chief has identified 2 local vendors who can provide the town with a new Quint. Now, therefore, be it ordered by the Town Council of Town of Winslow that the town manager is hereby authorized to purchase a new fire truck at a total cost not to exceed $1.128 million. Be it further ordered that the Quint be purchased with a lease purchase agreement of X number of years.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded.
I'd like to put an amendment on that. It's nothing bad. Where it says fire truck, Quint, put in parentheses right after Quint, ladder truck. Because Quint is a brand name. That way there, people out there in the public will know what we're talking about.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, Quint isn't a brand name. It's a model.
Actually, the Quint denotes function, Quint 5. So there's 5 functions to this apparatus. It carries ground ladders, it carries the capability for aerial, has pre-piped water rate, it has the water storage tank, it has a pump. Those are your 5. It's a 5-function. It's a term that dates back to the early 1900s to describe this type of piece of equipment. So it is not,
Not a brand.
it's not a brand. E1 has a Quint, Pierce has a Quint. All the manufacturers have Quints. It's basically a ladder truck with a pump on it and carries water with hose.
Okay.
So can we keep the Quint designation?
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm not saying that we take the Quint out. All we would add is ladder truck. Because most people out there will not know what a Quint is.
Okay, so your motion is to add the word ladder truck. Is there a second to that motion?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion?
Right.
Go ahead, Ray.
Is ladder truck, is that different than a quint?
Ladder truck has no pump and doesn't carry water. Ladder truck, basically, it's the same thing, it's just we've added a pump.
So if we did ladder truck, it's really not, it's not a
It's redundant.
designation
It's-
for the,
Yeah. It's a redundant name, really.
Mr. Chairman, if I
Yeah,
may.
go ahead.
I think Councilor Quirian is trying to add language that would make someone that doesn't know what a quint is, make them understand that it's a ladder truck. It's a ladder truck, but
Yes.
since it's a quint, it has
Okay, so
water.
It's a ladder truck that's called a quint because it has 5 functions.
Yep.
you don't care, right? I mean, it doesn't matter.
Call it whatever you, yeah.
Mike, if you want.
Yeah, call it Mike.
The red truck, we're buying a red truck. Maybe it'll be blue, I don't know.
Any further discussion? Is that a roll call vote? Okay, we
For
have a roll
Jerry's
call.
motion?
Yeah, for
So,
Jerry's motion.
yeah.
This is a roll call vote just on Jerry's motion to call it a ladder
Jeff
also.
West,
Yes.
Ray Karen.
Yes.
Ken Fletcher.
Yes.
Jerry Querian.
Yes.
Patricia West.
No,
Ben Twitchell.
Yes.
Steve Russell.
Yes.
not it. No, not.
Okay, so as amended, is there any further discussion on order number 21, 2019, as amended?
Like the price?
Come on, Ken, I know you got something.
Yeah.
Who, me? No, no.
Do we want to
Go out
put the
with a
terms of
bang.
years
Go
in
out
there, or
with a
do we
bang,
going to
Ken.
make that determination later on?
Well, Mike, what do you think?
Yeah, we should
put the year.
make it tonight. My suggestion would be a 10-year. Make it a little bit easier for us as far as budgeting.
What is the longevity of that new, brand new truck with a special frame and everything? I mean, is it gonna last 10 years?
Oh my God,
Mr. Chairman,
No, seriously.
I would suggest, this is a valid question.
No, it is.
Because we've been hammered here. It is my recommendation that that ladder truck with the galvanized frame rails, and we do the rust checking, I have no problems saying that ladder truck will last at least 20 years.
Who's responsible for maintaining the fleet? And overlooking it,
Well, ultimately,
doing the checks? and
we are.
well, I know there was a person designated in the past to overlook just the vehicles.
I'm trying to figure out, are you asking who does the weekly and daily
Yes.
checks? The staff.
Okay,
But annually, we've started the cycle where we have the undercoating done, with the rust check done. I didn't do it with this year,
For obvious reasons.
obvious reasons. But the rescue's being done, the tanker's being done, the command vehicle's being done, and then when we get these new vehicles, I'll add that to them.
These payments are here, that's per year. In other words, is on the 10 years, 129,900 for a year.
Correct.
Is everybody agreeable to a 10-year lease payback?
Yeah, now it's gonna last longer than 9, I have no problem. Wait, you know, I had to ask that question.
Go ahead.
Mr. Chairman, I think, well, at least 11. You know, I understand Mike's position because when you start adding things up, there's, you know, it's all gonna be dollars, but it would seem like it would be wise to try to spread that as much as we can because it could be quite a bit next year. And really the year after, because it's gonna hit the year after, right?
Right, yes.
But the first payment's due when, Mike, on this?
The
Next
next
budget
fiscal.
cycle.
The next cycle, after this one's coming out?
Yes. No, I'm sorry. The one we'll be budgeting for, it's gonna occur in that cycle.
It is.
Yes. Yes.
I understood the paperwork that we had on the engine, that it was out 2 years before we had the payment.
Is it a year after the truck is received?
The clock starts ticking on the execution of the contract.
Okay. So it'll be next fiscal year.
It'll be the next fiscal year. It'll be fiscal year 2021.
Because we aren't actually gonna receive this until, refresh my memory,
8 months
8 months. Okay, so,
For the Quint?
for the Quint.
Okay.
We are in the pipeline right now with the engine.
Right, I knew that. I thought that was the 8 months and Quint was up to a year. In other words, you.
I pressed hard.
Yeah, okay, never mind.
so 8 months would actually bring it past June 30th.
Yes, sir.
Okay, it'll be in 2021.
Yes, sir.
And we would not have to make any payments until then.
If memory serves me correctly, we have a year upon execution of contract, either one,
Okay,
whereby the first payment is made. So in theory, we have 3.5 months.
right, into 2021.
3.5 months after, if it takes them 8 months and we get it in August.
Right.
Then we sign it, depending on when we sign it, December, January, whatever.
Right, we would have a year, up to a year.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
I mean, we don't pay till after we take,
right.
That's correct.
we'll have the thing before we start.
Right.
In fact, we'll have, in theory, we'll have the engine in May, late May,
Right.
and we executed the contract
November.
December.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
So in theory, the first payment on the engine is not due until December 2020.
But I think, we need to look at this coming year budget, and we might be wise that when we look at it, to put some in the capital for the fire department to offset some of these costs for that next fiscal year, if we can. That's just something we're gonna have to look
We're gonna
at.
have to look at.
Because, if everything's coming due in 2021 for that budget cycle, we might be able to offset some of it by putting some capital away to ease up on that thing. I don't see how, but.
You're making
especially
sure
with
it
what's
stays
coming
in
up,
the fire
but-
department.
Mr. Chairman, if the members still need that spreadsheet that I did, breaking down the annual costs over, I think it was over 20 years, I can't remember. So that at the end of the useful life of the vehicles,
Oh, right.
Yes, I remember that.
Yeah. So is everybody okay with order number 21 as amended and now with the 10 years in?
Are we gonna have a second reading on this?
No.
Did we
Well,
pass
we
that?
gotta order it by next month.
I know, but yeah.
We have to order it now.
If it passes the first vote, I was going to ask the second one.
Because that's what happened last time. We have to get it on the books this year.
That's what I was double checking.
Am I
To
correct?
get the deal.
To get the
Yeah, the
proof of
pricing.
by the end of this year. That's why we're doing it now.
well, by the end, the contract has to be executed by the end of January.
Okay.
I do, Mr. Chairman, if I could, I would like to make a recommendation that if we could resolve this tonight, I have to go out to Wisconsin to look at the plans for the engine anyway. And I've made accommodations, if this was to pass, that I could go out and review the plans for both pieces at the same time, rather than going out,
Twice.
That makes
well,
sense.
4 times.
That makes sense?
Right. Okay, sorry.
I knew there's something
Make
in there
sure.
to get the money off, to get the cut rate. We had to do it at the same time. What for, Steve?
Any further discussion?
I just have one question for the chief, just so everything's out there. If we did not go with a ladder truck, our ISO rating would change, correct?
I haven't had any discussions with the ISO organization, but any changes to the
Any
fleet?
changes usually changes your
Yes, sir.
ISO rating,
Yes, sir.
which would actually probably end up costing us as taxpayers more money in the long run, would be my guess, with an ISO rating change for our
Depends on,
insurance.
yeah, not, my history with working with ISO ratings, not every insurance company use the ISO rating, but there
Never
are
mind
those.
us.
Well, so you know, there are those that do.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Are we all set? If we are, we'll have a roll call vote.
Jeff West.
Yes.
Ray Karen.
Yes.
Ken Fletcher.
Yes.
Yes.
Jerry Clarion. Patricia West.
Yes.
Ben Twitchell.
Yes.
Steve Russell.
Yes.
Somebody want to make a motion to waive? I'll make a motion to waive the second reading.
Second?
Moved and seconded to waive the second reading. Is there any further discussion?
You know, for good, Mr. Chairman, I think it's the same logic we used last time. Is there anything that's going to change in the next 30 days that would say that we do not want to proceed? I think the answer is no. No, this is the option, this is what we talked about. So normally, I know you are in favor of waiving the second reading for good reasons. But I think in this case, we can proceed with in a safe manner.
Any further discussion on waiving the second reading?
And the main thing is, the amount of money we can save by doing these two together.
Well, actually, the money we save actually works out better for us with the 10-year,
Oh, yeah.
because it eats up that interest.
All steps too.
Okay, so we'll have a roll call vote on waiving the second reading.
Jeff West.
Yes.
Ray Karen.
Yes.
Ken Fletcher.
Yes.
Jerry Clarion.
Yes.
Patricia West.
Yes.
Ben Twitchell.
Yes.
Steve Russell.
Yes.
Thank you.
And then, yeah, you're welcome. Move on to resolution number 43, 2019, providing for approval of application for renewal of an automobile junkyard graveyard permit for Adam Penny doing business as R&K Auto Salvage in the Morrow Road. What is the
May I-
question?
So move.
Second.
Moved and second. Any discussion?
Yes.
Yeah.
We combine 43 and 44 together.
Resolution 44, 2019, providing for approval of application renewal for an automobile graveyard junkyard permit for Randall Fredette doing business at Babe's Garage, Crowley Street. Is there a motion?
So move.
Okay, so 43 and 44 now on the table. Is there any further discussion? If not, all in favor, please raise your right hand. Opposed, same sign. Passed unanimous. Resolution 46. A resolution providing for the approval and adoption of the attached lease purchase resolution. Be it resolved by Town Council, Town of Winslow as follows. Whereas Pierce Financial Solutions requires the town approve and adopt the attached resolution to be eligible for a lease purchase agreement. Now therefore, be resolved by Town Council, Town of Winslow that the attached resolution is hereby approved and adopted by the town.
So move.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Is that a roll call? Also?
It is not.
Okay, if there's no further discussion, all in favor, please raise your right hand. Opposed, same sign. Passed unanimous. Moving on to Resolution 47, 2019, a resolution excuse me, regarding poverty hardship abatement request number 005, 2019. Be it resolved by Town Council, Town of Winslow as follows. We hereby move that poverty hardship abatement request number 005-2019 be granted in the amount of plus fees and interest. And what was the
So
amount?
that percent of unpaid taxes would be $1,131.40.
So,
So that's moved and seconded. Any discussion? Is that a roll call or is that a?
It is not.
It's not. So all in favor, please raise your right hand. Opposed, same sign. That takes care of. Now, public comment. This would be the time for anybody from the public to get up, state their name and address, and speak on any subject they wish to talk to us about. Are we all set? Oh, go ahead.
I'm Gary Ellen, I live on 28 and Resolve. Question I have is, in the paper recently, you noticed Fiberite has gotten to the point where their business is now in a mode where they're able to accept new clients, or will be able to accept new clients in the near future. Question I have is, we currently have a contract with CMD, as I understand it, to take care of our trash. And I would just like to have a quick explanation as to where we might stand with when the CMD contract could expire and what types of planning have been done to take a look at fiber right. So anyone here that's able to answer that?
Yeah, if I could, I read the same article, and they are to, it sounds like about half commercial operations. They are removing some of the recyclables, putting it in the pulper, and then taking the liquid, and they're trying to get that to turn into methane gas. And they have not received approval for that. So I would still say, and based on what I read, that they're still into the startup phase, because all of that has to work for the finances to work. So, but the real question, Gary, is where are we with CMD? I think when we made the decision, I can help you out here on the time, but we looked at the timeline, and we got a 3-year contract. 5-year. So we figured that by the time Fiber Right is up and proven, which will probably be another year, we could then entertain discussions going forward if we want to think about sending it there, which really comes down to financials and is the technology working. So I would take a guess, where are we, December, probably May, June, somewhere in there. We will probably want to see where they are and begin a discussion if we want to pursue it.
Right. Well, obviously, you want to stay ahead of the curve. And that's my concern, is that we get to a point where Fiber Right is in a non-negotiable arrangement because they are now fully operational. And we don't want to dispense with thinking about this in the near term as a result of contracts we may have to renegotiate with.
No, and you know, that's a very good point, Gary. I think that was the thinking all along. That's why we decided not to sign up, and we got our $600,000, which we would have had to put into the project, with the idea that, excuse me, that if the technology works and the finances work, we could probably sit down and have a discussion, because we generate 2,800, 3,000 tons a year of trash, which is a lot, but...
Well, going hand in hand with the conversation is my concern about the recyclables, that we're not using that system anymore. I mean, we have the opportunity to use it through water, but from what I'm gathering, I even tried, it really doesn't lend itself to a workable way to do your recyclables, which means they're going into this trash stream, and that is counterintuitive as far as I'm concerned. That's why I would like to see some kind of a thought process developed over the next, whenever it's appropriate, to take a good hard look at what we're doing and what our plan would be, especially since we're in the budget process coming in the next 6 months.
Thank you. Appreciate
Point,
that.
thank you.
If I might.
Yeah, go ahead.
I think we have a committee, the trash committee, that met for I think forever. I think we got a pretty good, as far as the financials goes, but to update, I think we could use that committee. And we could, in March, say March or April, get that committee back together and start the groundwork, because I think it's going to be an evolving situation like it has been when we went through the committee. 2 years makes a big difference. But I think if that trash committee would be, especially with the new town manager coming in, it might be a good learning process for everybody involved, and then we could do the financials over probably for this spring till the fall or the beginning of next year,
and then we could at least educate ourselves again in the public and see where fiber rate goes. So my suggestion would be to, in March or April, is to reestablish that trash committee. And, you know, it was a good committee, and I think a lot of good work was done from it. So that might be my suggestion. So you got that down? Okay, get it written down. I know that, yeah, no.
I do have
Go ahead.
It's unrelated to that. Another concern I have, or actually I'm on the committee along with Ben, for the water at Winslow Junior High School, and what is going to happen to that building, and it's been a better part of 2 years since we met, looking for a thought process on what's happening with that, and when that committee might be tasked to do more.
Yeah, we met recently.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
We met recently.
We talked to
We had the develop-
handicap.
Yeah, we had the developer.
But that was only to get that feedback, which we haven't yet got.
Yeah,
Go ahead, Mike. Sorry.
he's doing a market study.
Right.
And he anticipated, or indicated to us, I think by the end of December, he expected to have that done, and then would get back to us and let us know if in fact it would be or could be a viable project.
I realize that it's something that it's been in the back of my mind, and I continue to think about it, as other people may as well. This is not what, I'm not here to say one way or the other what we should do, but that we should do something as soon as we can.
Yeah, and that the other thing I remember, Mike, was he said he'd do the market study, and then he'd get some sense of the financials. Right?
Yep.
Because the goal would be, let's just say they come back and say, yep, looks like it's feasible, we would enter into a letter of intent or something, or an MOU or something, just to say, okay, you continue and you've got some rights,
Yep.
then that we intend to sell, give, whatever we're gonna do with it, if your project goes through.
Yep.
That was the way I remember it,
Yes.
Gary. So it should be coming up within a month,
Hopefully.
hopefully.
Anything else for discussions?
Oh,
I would just like to say thank you. If I'm not mistaken, is tonight your last meeting?
Yes.
I just want to say thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Chief. I appreciate that.
It's, you brought me in, and we've had some pretty insightful dialogue,
Yep.
and I appreciate you. So I just wanted to say thank you.
Well, I think I learned long ago, unless you respect each other enough to be able to challenge your thinking and ask questions,
That's right.
then you aren't gonna get good answers.
That's right.
So, I ask a lot of questions, but that's only because I got a job to do. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Does that mean you want to have the pleasure of adjournment?
You're gonna leave us your cell number?
No, I'm going off the grid.
I want to know who you're going to email your questions to.
Mike?
Okay. I was going to say, you don't live in my district.
Yeah, before you give the presentation and no one ever says anything, first of all, I think that from the council perspective, Ken, from my own personal perspective, it's been a pleasure doing business with you all these years. I think we've had definitely some dialogues ourselves also, but I think we can come out at this point in time with a good handshake and mutual respect for each other in the whole council.
I really enjoyed working with this council, and I gotta tell you, I had the good fortune or misfortune of being in the legislature for 8 years. And I gotta tell you that this council does more work and asks more questions and gets the information and spends the time, whereas lots of times in the legislature, you don't even know what's on the agenda.
We allow you to ask questions here.
Well, yeah, I asked them too. But, no, I really enjoyed working with Mike and the whole crew. It's a good town.
Great town.
And, we got a lot of good opportunities ahead of us. So thank you.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, Ken, if you just wouldn't mind standing up.
I don't know if I can.
We're getting old, I
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
So this is a plaque presented to Kenneth C. Fletcher, Town Councilor, in appreciation for your loyal and commendable service to this community as a Winslow Town Councilor from 2011 to 2019. Because of your service, Winslow is a better place to live, work, and play.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much. Now, if you stop clapping, I'll go in my 20-minute speech. Thank you.
Let's not stop clapping.
Everybody keep going.
Keep going. Very much appreciated. Thank you.
Is there any further items for discussion? If not, I'll entertain a motion for.
Who would like to adjourn? Ken?
Yeah, Ken, would you?
Yes. I move we adjourn.